Well, if you haven't heard already, they have reached a verdict on all 5 counts in the U.S. versus Sean Combs federal case. Yesterday, the jury reached a partial verdict, and the judge urged them to continue deliberations. Yesterday, they had the option to continue deliberating or adjourn for the day and resume today, which is what they chose, the latter. And of course, they reached a verdict today on count 1, the racketeering conspiracy, the RICO charges, running a criminal enterprise. They came back not guilty. Count 2, trafficking by force, not guilty. Now that's on the Cassie Ventura. Count 3, also Cassie, was found guilty of transportation. Count 4, not guilty. And that's regarding Jane Doe. And then count 5, guilty. That's also with Jane Doe. Transportation to engage. If you go over to my YouTube and you go under investigative documentary, you're going to see one of the 3rd deep dive videos that I've ever done was about Sean Combs and his earlier crimes, where I straighten out misinformation from fact. Sean Combs had a concert in which 9 people sadly lost their lives in a crowd crush event. Astro World, 30 years before. Then there was his involvement in the death of Tupac Shakur. But this was the most unsettling. He was completely acquitted of all of the things that happened at a nightclub where this woman got harmed in her face and was alive to tell a jury and a court who it was. Another prime example of how a powerful, rich, wealthy, very connected man, because he's powerful and very connected due to the fact that he's wealthy, how that completely overshadows everything and everybody else, including his crimes. But this is not surprising because in my video, I deep dive his earliest 3 crimes, of which he never faced any repercussions, consequences at all. And then Sean Combs had the nerve after he settled with Cassie Ventura, after a video was released of what he did to her in a hotel, after he tried to pay everybody off to be silent, had the nerve to come to the internet and post an apology about how he's trying to be a better man every day and how he believes in God and how he's just doing the best that he can. So are we going to believe his account now? Are people going to actually say, yeah, we believe his account, that he never coerced or forced anybody? Because while, yes, this is DV, is it enough to prove the RICO charges? Apparently not in a federal court. And that is why I was so worried about that to begin with, because yes, it proves that there was a lot of consensual relationships. But where they don't talk about this anywhere in the court of law or even the court of public opinion is that when somebody thinks that they are in an exclusive relationship for 6 years, 2 years, 11 years with somebody, and there's not just that emotional element, that intimate element, that relationship with this person, but there's also a work dynamic, there's also a contract. People don't talk about how that all can tie into coercion and manipulation of somebody, especially when you are paying their bills or you are the head of the company that they are signed to. That amount of power is given to men like this because people allow him to have that kind of power. And it's the fact that he has money that can buy him whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and he has the money to pay people for their silence. But my whole problem is people came out of the woodwork to sue him civilly, not go after him criminally, even with the statute of limitations changing in California and in New York. People still were coming after him for money. And Cassie Ventura had every right to come after him for what she suffered and endured for 11 years. But see, this is where a lot of people's opinions differ, because how much of it is consensual and how much of it is not? If somebody is doing these things, why did you go back? We know how DV works. We know that it's disgusting. A woman did not ask to be in the Mediterranean Sea and to be kicked off of a $300 million yacht into the Mediterranean Sea. Did not ask to have her head stomped or to be dragged back into a hotel room. Did not ask to have her forehead split open the same way this woman over 30 years ago did not ask for what happened to her. And if you don't know, it's a pew pew to the face. To the face. And he let a 19-year-old that was under his record label take the fall and the blame for all of this. He even tried to bribe and pay off his driver to say that the weapon was his and not Sean's. But if you don't believe me, go ahead and look up all of the interviews and the press that this woman has done herself and listen to what she has to say about what happened to her and what she lived through. Well, if that's not a sign right there, Sean Combs, to yourself, that, oh my goodness, I really need to rethink my priorities and my life over 30 years ago, I don't know what is. But there goes the entitlement. And that entitlement comes with the fact that he has endless amounts of money and that he gets what he wants. He must have what he wants when he wants it. This is going to reaffirm that monster and make it a bigger monster. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And I believe in forgiveness. And I believe that if people truly want to change and want to be a better person, that they can do that they can actively work towards that. I am not that cynical. I'm not as cynical as people may think. But that's the difference between people who are very cynical and people who are not. Because we have seen it happen. We have seen people rehabilitate and change their lives. But does it fix the damage that he has done to women? No, absolutely not. And this is just going to make him reaffirmed that he can continuously do things like this, because they're not able to fully prove it in the court of law. I beg to differ. What were all of those witnesses when 38 or 59 or 72 people come forward and they are telling you, not hearsay, they are telling you their experience, what they witnessed under oath in the court of law, that these things occurred? That should be enough. But as we know, the RICO charges, nope, he was acquitted of that. So how much time is he going to have to serve? Or is he going to have to serve any time at all? Is he going to have time served? We don't know what the sentencing is yet, or potentially how much time he may have to serve on the 2 counts that he is guilty of. And even if he does get 5 years or 10 years, hypothetically, is he just going to bail out? Because even though Sean Combs has a long history of being acquitted in the court of law, that doesn't mean that he is not guilty. That doesn't mean that he hasn't done these things. It just means that they weren't able to fully prove it enough for a jury to say, yes, beyond all reasonable doubt, he did these things. And the problem, I think, really comes down to a lot of consent. When witnesses sit there and say, yes, I loved him. Yes, I was in a relationship with him. Yes, I knew he was in a relationship with another woman. Yes, I know he was in another relationship with a woman who he had children with. And I still chose to be with him. I still chose to go down this path. Yes, a lot of the things that he has done prove beyond a reasonable doubt DV, but does it prove that he was running a criminal enterprise? That's the part that I was always concerned about. And I had over 5 videos on my TikTok months ago taken down over talking about the charges that he was facing. And I had so many people come after me because no, he's going to be found guilty. He's going to be found guilty. I literally said, I don't know if they have enough to prove the racketeering. That's what I'm concerned about. Because you have to prove that running a criminal enterprise actually occurred. And that a lot of that has to do with consent. And if people are consensually getting on a private jet or a yacht, I don't know.